Good morning. It's Friday, April 24th. I like that day. I like April 24th. It's 10:05. We're a little late considering that all of my co-hosts are nowhere to be found. Mastadana, he's in the background. He's on a phone call. There's something new. I believe Christina is going to be a couple minutes late, and Todd is nowhere to be found. So it's just a normal Friday. But we do have a special guest with us, so we're just going to get right to it. We're going to bring Renee Sarno from YAYMAKER on. Hello, Renee.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
Good. We're doing good. It's a typical Friday. None of my co-hosts show up, so I'm glad you're on time.
I'm always punctual.
Look, I like it. I'll tell you, it's hard. Like I could good at bantering when there's lots of people I could talk to, but it's so awkward when you're just by yourself talking to no one. I'm like to other people. I'm like, I've been in the headlights. So
I've actually had that happen a few times when we talk about this, like when we talk to a blank screen.
It's terrible, right?
It's difficult.
It really is. And then like you don't know what to say, and you're like, and then I sound like an idiot, but no. So Renee, YAYMAKER, give us a little background.
Yeah, so YAYMAKER is a paint and sip company, create and sip company. We've kind of moved from just painting and have all these other experiences, but we do paint and sip classes in local bars and restaurants. So I don't have a physical location. Pretty much run my business from my car. I hop around the island, set up shop, teach, clean up, move on to the next venue. So not only do we do painting, but we do plant night, the wood sign making, candle making, ukulele making, resin art. We do all these different kinds of things. So
you do a lot. The plants, I think I saw you do like the plants inside, and then they're like decorated around with like sand and different colors.
Like a little container, depending upon whatever project we pick for that night. Maybe it's like a wood box, maybe it's a glass bowl. We do all the steps. We fill it with soil. We put our little plants in. We name them. We take care of them. We put them in, and then I give you like a whole bunch of decoration. Rocks and maybe like an amethyst stone or a little fairy or a gnome, and we just decorate and make it look nice. And the plants are super easy to take care of. They're succulent plants. They need to be watered once a month. They just need to be in the sun, and they live.
Well, if we're going to be honest, I would kill them. So no matter, my wife and I, we get plants, and they just what's an orchid, right? Isn't that like a plant that's supposed to be super easy?
Yeah, it needs like an ice cube, I think.
Yeah, we kill that. That like we had one by the door for the longest time, and then I started noticing it was just like dead and those things. And I go to my wife, I'm like, when was the last time you like took care of this? She's like, I don't know, I wore it like 3 months ago. I was like, okay, yeah. So plants are not for us, but I've seen them. They're very pretty, the ones, because I remember I think it was like the SIDC business conference where you had them out, and I was like, those are so nice. And didn't you do a backyard party for my friend Michelle?
I did. We actually wound up doing that on Mother's Day.
It was a Mother's Day party? Yeah,
it was a different way to celebrate Mother's Day. Instead of, going out for your typical brunch, everyone came over the house. We painted, and
I kind of remember it raining though, and you had to weren't she supposed to do everything outside, and you had to move inside? And we had to do
it in like the living room.
Yeah, and I'm sure Michelle, when she has a party, there's people there, so I'm sure it was packed.
The living room was full of people.
Yeah, because
because it was like the kids and the parents, everyone together. And I've done all these parties. Like people invite me to their home, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, take over the dining room," and they're like, "Okay, take over the backyard and the driveway and the basement, the back patio." Really, anywhere we can put tables and chairs, we can do some kind of craft party.
Okay. Now, so social distancing, bars and restaurants being closed.
Right.
How are you dealing with that? Because I know I see on Facebook people thanking you. So obviously you're thinking outside the box. So what are you doing?
So once, I don't remember the exact date of my last event, but we did resin seascapes at Miller's. And I remember I put a bottle of sanitizer out on the table. I said, listen, guys, if you need the sanitizer, it's here for you. Everyone was kind of like, yeah, we're fine. I'm like, all right. And then the next week, I think everything was shut down. So as soon as the bars had to go at 50% capacity, we were all of our YAYMAKER partners across the country were like, okay, well, we're going to have to transition here. So we started doing virtual events. I was a little late to the game. I came in probably a week after some of the other local partners started doing their live events. I was just kind of nervous. I was like, I don't know if I can talk to these people through the computer and instruct. I don't know. But the first class I did on March 27th, and it went amazing. I had 30 people from across the country and Canada painting with me.
And what do you do on Zoom?
Through Zoom. So everyone gets a private Zoom link.
Okay.
Once you sign up for the class, we send it to you, your email.
Awesome.
So we've been hosting these events now for over a month over the internet, and it's amazing. Every class I have at least one person from Canada. I think now throughout this whole month I've been doing it, I think there's been 2 classes where I haven't had people from Canada.
I gotta ask, how are you getting people from Canada? What did you do to get that?
So I'm just trying to pick different kind of paintings people would like. Obviously, they wouldn't pick something like that because it's America. But
you don't think so?
No. I've been doing a lot of Americana paintings, no Canadians. So on YAYMAKER.com, it aggregates everyone together. So if you put in Staten Island, New York, the mile radius is set to 200 miles.
Okay.
For the virtual classes. So you can then also drop down and click the whole world.
So you could see. Now, do you mail them like the paint and everything? Like, how does that work if they sign up for the class?
So I'm only doing Staten Island delivery at the moment.
Okay.
There are partners across the country, like my girls in New Jersey and Long Island. They have websites where they ship supplies. But there are a lot of places in the country that are doing still curbside and delivery. So people are ordering from Michael's, from Joann's, from Walmart even, supplies, and that way they have them. They know that they want to do these events, so they have the supplies ready to go. But on Staten Island, I am doing a delivery service. So you just have to send me a message either through YAYMAKER, my personal social media profiles, and you get a canvas. You get like little cups of paint. Like I set everything up in little cups of paint. You get a brush set. I have everything just laying here. I put it in like a little bag. Here's a little bag.
Now, is this the room where you do the classes from?
What is this the room? Oh yeah.
Yeah, like this is where you do the class from?
Oh yeah. I got my big
Yeah. I didn't know if we set that up just for today.
Oh no.
Or...
No. I had to turn my office space in my apartment into
your studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. So people on Staten Island, and where do they go to see what classes you're offering?
So I have a few different places. So I have my Facebook page is YAYMAKER Staten Island, New York. I have my Instagram page is YAYMAKER_ Staten Island. And then I have an artist profile on YAYMAKER.com. I could put it in here.
Yeah. We'll get it into the comments, but okay. I'm actually doing this right now. I'm actually updating the banner. Facebook. Cool. There we go. So yeah. So if someone signs up for a class and they're on Staten Island and they need supplies, you do the delivery, the curbside delivery to them, where you'll get them the canvas, the paint, everything they need.
Yep. They can order as many canvases as they want, as many kits as they want. I actually made a special trip this week to New Jersey for a private event to drop off there. If I'm not teaching one night, I'm delivering. So I do all my deliveries after 6 o'clock. And I just drive around and I bring it right to the door. I leave it at the doorstep, and then I get back in the car and I text and message them that your supplies have arrived.
Now, are you busier now? Like with the virtual, are you getting more of a reach, the same, or are you less?
So I'm the sole owner and operator. So I don't have any employees. I don't have any staff. My boyfriend helps me put everything together and deliver. But because I don't have any staff, I'm kind of able to keep the same amount of events a week, if not more right now. Not saying that all of our events are having the same capacity that we would have at a live event, but some of my events are still, 25, 30 people. But I do have some events that are maybe like 7 or 10, which I'm fine with because all I have to do is set up right here and I'm not rushing from one place to another. I'm not setting up. So on tomorrow, Saturday, I actually put up 3 classes. And that'll be the most that I've done so far in a day. So I have a 12 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, and a 7 o'clock show.
That's cool. And now, are you only doing paint, or are you doing the plants as well, virtual and all?
So for classes, for now, I'm just sticking to paint until I get myself situated where I can get more supplies to more people. So something like a resin project, I can just show it to you really quick. I have here.
Sure. And I think, is Moss available? Yes, he is. Let me bring Massimo in. Give me one second.
Happy birthday to Happy birthday,
Mr. President.
me. Happy birthday, dear Bloomy. Happy birthday to you.
And that's why you stick to being a DJ.
I wonder if Facebook's going to take me down.
Yeah. Oh, wow. All my co-hosts are coming on at once. Hold on.
Yes, it's perfect. We can't hear it.
Happy birthday.
He just did it.
I know. I was watching. That's why I'm doing it. I just scratched my eyes so bad. Yeah.
That's not good. Christina, meet Renee. I don't know if you've met Renee yet.
Hi, Renee. Through email.
Yep.
Moss has definitely met Renee, correct?
Sorry, how are you?
We're friends.
Yes,
We're friends. So I was just getting to the point. We're going to get some more info from Renee. She was going to show us the resin product as well. But now that you're here, Moss, I have an important question for her. So you also work at Staten Island Borough Hall, correct?
I do. Yes.
Moss, Christina, and Todd would like to know why James has not reached out to us to do a PSA about stay at home.
I actually did one on day 2.
Oh, why did he get one? I didn't get one. This is my show.
Moss had a little part in one of them.
Yeah, I remember. That was early, right?
I didn't get a full 1 minute like Lou Tobacco, but I guess he's a bigger deal.
Yeah,
It was the messaging. It was all the messaging. What worked where?
Who was on last night? Because I thought it was definitely someone I knew. He just announced today a new one. It was some. Who was it? I just looked at this morning, but I was like, I don't ever get one. No, people don't like me on Staten Island. It's my birthday. I should do a PSA. So
I have some more things in the works. We'll see.
I will tell you this: Mike would be the perfect person, as he has not left his home in 6 weeks.
That is 100% true.
Saving lives. You are saving lives.
I have now figured out how to get my employees to pick up my groceries as well. So yes, it's working out.
Wow.
I actually have to leave today, and I'm very upset because I have to go pick up my own birthday cake because I don't want Nicole to go. And I'm like, I'll go. And then I'm like, maybe I'll ask Jimmy to stop on his way back. I'm like, that's so mean. I can't just keep asking him to stop places. But
Yes, you can. You're his boss.
Jimmy, if you're watching, it's my birthday, 1 p.m. Carvel, please pick it up. It's under Nicole's name. Give me a call so I know not to go. But yeah. So go ahead. Show us the resin product you have.
So something like this, I'm going to try and get supplies to everyone so that they can make this.
That's cool.
Yeah, so they would get like sand and seashells, crushed glass, like all these big pieces, and some resin. I'm working with the resin part because, chemistry and chemicals.
Could kids do that? Like my 3-year-old? Are you doing classes?
I don't know. Parental supervision definitely is required.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to stick her in front of the TV and be like, "Hey, Renee, she's on you now. I'm going downstairs."
Yeah, but I've had 4-year-olds do the paint nights in person, and I have one that keeps coming in from Virginia. They like me a lot, so they keep coming into my class, which is really cool. I have families do it all together. They all sit around like the kitchen table, the dining room table.
Are you getting like any corporate, like are they do virtual corporate parties for employees? Like
so
that could be fun.
The big corporate parties have been going to the corporate office.
Excuse me. It's time to take my next dose of medicine. Hold on.
Is that your beeper?
Oh, okay. Okay. We're good now. Thank you for learning yesterday. No longer get corona. Just inject yourself with some Lysol. What, Moss? You don't have any comment?
Mike, I have nothing. I plead the fifth respectfully. I think you're crazy. Okay. I respect you for taking all these crazy precautions. And that's all I'm going to say because it's your birthday.
Sorry, Renee. Go ahead. I've had this plan. That was my joke for the day, and it didn't go over well. I thought Moss would like it a little better. That was it. I've been planning this since
Mike,
yesterday.
You're a hypochondriac. Leave your house for a minute. Go get some fresh air. Lick a cup. Do something. Get some germs.
Oh, that's not what this is about. This is about a press briefing yesterday. You clearly didn't watch.
I refuse to watch the press. I mean, with all due respect, and no offense, Ree, because I know you work down in Borough Hall, but I think a lot of our politicals, I mean, I want to be politically correct, literally. I think, unfortunately, nobody knows, and we just got to take it day by day. And I think a lot of the higher ups, I think the governor, the mayor, I mean, even, we know we don't talk politics, but and even the president for that extent. I mean, guys, we just got to sit here and wait. There's nothing we can do. And everyone has a press conference contradicting what the other guy said, and all we do is go crazy. And it's like, and on the state and local level, unfortunately, the Jimmys, the Steves, the Joes, the Mike Rileys, the Cusacks on both sides, the Debbie Rogers.
Are you going to name every politician on Staten?
I have to be politically correct.
You forgot Malatakis.
On Nicole, I forgot about Nicole. I'm sorry. Well, Nicole's Brooklyn and Staten Island, so I always, it's, and I'm sure
Max Rose. Did you say Rose?
No, Max is a different category because he's in the Fed.
Okay.
But the bottom line is all the city and local guys, Renee. Unfortunately, they have they have no say right now, right? It's like they just they have some say, but they took away all their city money. We're in $1 billion deficit, and at the end of the day, we're all sitting ducks. I mean, and it just sucks because the mayor goes out there, he'll turn around and say, no more of school's canceled to the end of the year. But by the way, we're having 4th of July. But this is the same guy, and I'm sorry to go off on a rant, the same guy that doesn't cancel school until we have 6 feet of snow on the floor at 6 o'clock in the morning. But we're going to cancel school until 2029. Like, come on, guys, what are we doing here? Sorry, Renee.
Sorry, Renee, I had it. It's just
why
too
are you
easy.
apologizing to me?
Because he's just there. But I mean, and listen, Jimmy's working hard. Your team down at Borough Hall's working hard, and and at the end of the day, it's just like all their hard work is falling on deaf ears because they don't even listen. They're not even listening to the people that we elected to represent us. That's what aggravates me. That's it. Enough of the rant.
Yeah, for 2 minutes. Don't worry, I'll get you started again. So let's get back to some yay fun stuff. All right, so classes, like you guys missed this. So Renee's doing virtual classes with painting. She keeps getting people from Canada in. They must really like her. She's been doing a lot of maple leaves. So I see you got the flag there. What is that? The New York City's behind you?
Yeah. So I did a free event with the Rainbows Over Staten Island group, and we painted this together because I thought very appropriate.
That's nice. Now my one question, because that's great, and I think it was a Pinot palette years ago, Mine look nothing like theirs. Why is that? I followed all the directions.
You're an IT guy, not an artist.
Well, maybe you just need to do a class with me, Mike.
Yeah, maybe. Though, you know which ones I do good? My daughter gets these canvases and they have numbers and it tells me what color to go. I do really good on those. And my favorite one she has is it's just a pen with water and you just like put water on
yeah.
And it's that I'm good at it. By the time I'm done, it looks like a beautiful masterpiece.
Yeah, I started doing paint by numbers, and then I was like, I'm really enjoy painting. It's kind of one of the reasons why I got into this.
That was my drawing I did yesterday.
This is the extent of Mike Bloomfield's artwork.
Now, you want to know a funny story? When I was in IS 34, I was an art major.
Wow,
how are you an art major in IS 34? There's no such thing as having a major in
there was a in IS 34 there was a special program and like if you did art, like I went to a special art class. I used to draw.
Yeah, you took an art class. It's not make you an art major, Mike. That's like saying I was a band major because I took bands in IS 75. Like
you were a band geek.
I had one class of band. It wasn't a band focused curriculum. Like
Christina, you want to go to band camp with me?
Right? Oh yeah.
The only thing I would draw though would be like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was the only thing I would ever draw. I got very good at it at one point.
I can only imagine what they look like.
I know. I really wish I could like get some of the stuff I drew. My mom totally threw everything out. Like I could.
Me too.
She definitely wasn't the type that save anything. What were you saying, Ma?
Look at that stick figure. Do you expect it to keep up?
And then when I went to PS32, I think that's the one on Steig Avenue, we did a time capsule and I had to write something to myself and bury it. That's had to be unburied by now, but they never contacted me. I want to know what I was in my time capsule. I want to know what I wrote to myself.
I remember I did that too in PS4. What happened to those?
Like, is there like, do I contact the school and be like, hey, class of 1988, I'd like to see my time capsule. Can I get a copy? But now they do digital time capsules, right? I think which isn't as fun because I remember it being like a whole ceremony. It was like a huge silver thing, and they put everyone's note in it, and they buried it, and we played like the band played. It was like a whole thing.
I don't remember all that. I think this is one of those memories that like you think you remember, but they say like most people's memories are completely wrong. And like a lot of people have memories that never actually once happened in their life. And that's like a proven fact. Like you can recite like a story and it's never even happened to you, but you believe it. This sounds like one of those. There's no big silver time capsule and no band ceremony.
There might have been. He got a 7:00 show, so he can't make it to any of our shows today.
Well,
what does that have to do with us?
This is the Renee. So our other host, Todd Bavona, would he be able to work at down in Borough Hall or work with you at YAYMAKER? He doesn't do Tuesdays. He doesn't do Thursdays. He doesn't do Fridays. He doesn't do Saturdays. He doesn't do Sundays. But somehow, some way, Anthony Rappaciullo is bringing him on the show tonight at 7:00. I can't wait till when Rap calls me at like 5 to 7. I can't get in touch with Todd. What are we going to do? I need you to be a fill-in. And I'm going to put a wig on and I'm going to put my headphones on and I'll be like, I'm Todd Bavona.
I think the only reason he picked today is because he knows I'll probably be having a birthday cake, so I won't be able to have a comment and harass him the whole time.
I'm going to heckle him. I heckled Mike Riley so bad when Riley was on. I was like, Mike Riley for president. Mike Riley for mayor. Riley texted me. He goes, you really have issues. I'm like, anything to get a rise out of people, folks. That's what I'm here for. I'm here all day until they let me have parties. I figured I'm at the point now where they're probably going to allow like events shortly. You know why? Because people don't want to listen to me and see my face anymore on Facebook.
That might be true. Thank you, Frank. So, Renee, for your work at Borough Hall, are you were you put in by the borough president, or are you an employee?
I was brought in the middle of his first term. So,
but with the next borough president, you're still there, or they potentially?
Potentially.
Well, Moss is running. Did you know that?
No, I am not. Do not start rumors. I am not running for borough president. I am putting all of my power behind my good friend Steve Matteo. I think You can't say things like that, Mike. Okay? Because you know what, Renee? I don't know if you remember when Joe Borelli went from the assembly to the council when Vinny stepped down.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew it was happening, and one of my idiot friends went on Facebook and wrote, "Vinny Ignizio is stepping down. Mastodonna for councilman, the Donna 2014 or whatever." I mean, I wasn't even paying attention, and Joe winded up calling me, and he's like, "Are you really going to run against me?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I went on Facebook, and I had my notifications shut off, and I was like, "Joe, I'm not a politician." I'm like, it's not what I do. I mean, maybe one day, when I'm done doing whatever, maybe, but not right now. He's like, "Oh, I thought I was gonna have to have a primary with my friend."
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have Design Pickle create some Moss for Borough President artwork and start sharing that out, just to get you annoyed.
I'm gonna have Scott Lebedo put a Trump poster on your front lawn.
All right, we're done. You're right. Good. No, Design Pickle is canceled.
See, I know how to get even with him.
That's it. We're good. All done. Hold on. It's time again. So Renee, the best place was Facebook to find you, and you're doing you said 3 classes this weekend.
Yeah, so I have 2 classes tonight in honor of the draft. I have a 9:30 football class. If anyone wants to join in that, I'm doing a unicorn with your name at the bottom tonight. I still have to finish painting that. Tomorrow, some dinosaurs in the morning for the kids. I have so I love Christmas. You can see I still have a Christmas wreath on my door because I don't care.
You still have Christmas lights.
Christmas lights are up around my TV. I don't care. So tomorrow is 8 months until Christmas. So I put up a Christmas painting at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And then we're doing another American flag tomorrow night. Sunday, I have a Beauty and the Beast thing up. So
Sunday Beauty and the Beast. What is it? Drawing like the Beauty and the Beast, or like a background?
The rose in like a stained glass.
That's cool. And now, if someone needs delivery of product, like when is the cutoff for like the weekend to be able to get things?
Right. So on the actual YAYMAKER website, on my artist profile, in each description of each event, I have the deadline.
Okay.
So anything for tomorrow, actually, I can't do because I'm teaching twice tonight. And then I'm teaching at 12 o'clock tomorrow. But then my next delivery will actually be Sunday, late afternoon. So after the Beauty and the Beast painting will be my next delivery. And then probably Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I also actually have been having a really great response to ceramic projects for the kids on Staten Island. So I give you a ceramic, you pick whatever you want. Like this is a rainbow box.
I used to love ceramics. I used to go by where, what was it, Annandale. There used to be a ceramic studio there.
I remember that.
I used to love it as a kid.
I could still like remember that smell in that place.
Yeah,
like, that had like such a distinct like.
Don't you have to bake it?
Yeah.
Right, you would paint it and then
you bake it. I put in like a little strip of paper that has little instructions on it, and then I just recommend that you bake it in the oven. Even when I do like wine glass painting, because we do wine glass painting, we do wine bottles, and I always say, just bake it so then the paint doesn't scratch away. That's
awesome. It's a lot of fun stuff that you could do while you're stuck in your house.
Yeah, I'm just trying to bring as much art and fun and excitement to everyone that I can.
That's very cool. Now, are you working with any restaurants to do like a virtual date night or something where it's a class and they deliver food and?
I have been starting to talk to one of my restaurants about doing that. Right, so I do host all of my events in restaurants and bars, Eggers Ice Cream Parlor too. When we're out and out. But I'm working on a way that we would have like a typical paint night at the restaurant, but let's now do it at the house. So if you pick up your order, you would get a special deal on your food, your alcohol, and then you can also then pick up your supply kit so that you have everything for the night, just like we would be in the bar.
Very cool.
Mhm.
I will put you in touch with one restaurant owner that I think maybe you guys could work together, because I think he has some exciting stuff he's announcing Monday, and this could really pair with it.
Yeah. I mean, when, sometimes I've had like up to 7 places that I've been working with throughout the year. I usually have about 5 to 6 rotating venues.
Okay. Very cool. So we have a second guest. Did you want to stay on, Renee, or did you want to drop off?
I can
You're gonna
leave. Yep.
You're gonna leave?
I
All
will.
right.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thanks
So
for having me, guys.
Facebook.com/YAYMAKERs and from there they could find Instagram and the YAYMAKER website and everywhere else. And you're doing virtual classes today, tomorrow, Sunday. So anyone just looking for a good time to do something, bring a little normalcy back to your life, it sounds like a really fun thing. And I'm going to talk to my wife and see if we could try to do something with my daughter.
I want to see the scene from Ghost with you and Nicole
making the ceramic. I think she sends us the ceramic pre-made.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think she's sending me a glob of what is a ceramic. I'll make clay and I'll make
Clay.
I was at that point. I just want to see you and Nicole do something.
Okay, we'll talk about that for after dark.
All right. Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
Renee.
Bye.
Hello.
So I have a very special guest. He's a good dear friend of mine. I love him to death. He might be out of his mind. And he called me yesterday and he was fighting with me. And he said he wants to come on this show to prove to me his theory, which I think Moss will love him. But I'm open. I let anybody on the show. So without further ado, Jim Evans from Auto Cheetah. And he dressed up for it.
Well, Mike, this is definitely dressing up, as you know. It's hard to get guys like you and I in collared shirts, but in an effort to try and find some normalcy, I have been trying to put collared shirts on at least once a day or at least once a week.
Yeah, I haven't changed out of a t-shirt and basketball shorts in 6 weeks now. And I love
Mike,
it.
the best part about yesterday's call was I was calling to wish you a happy birthday.
The day
that yesterday was the 24th, so I had your birthday correct, but I didn't know what day it was, which is, I think, an effect of the coronavirus.
He calls me like, happy birthday. I'm like, it's not my birthday. He's like, yeah, today's the 24th. Your birthday's the 24th. I'm like, yes, my birthday is the 24th. Today's the 23rd.
That's a good fuck up, though. That's allowed.
Yeah, definitely messed that one up.
Jim, do you know Massimo or no?
I think we may have met, but I don't know. I'll tell you a funny story though, Mike. I watched your live show in the early days of this quarantine. And I can remember the thing that you were arguing about. I think you were doing reviews on the best pizza places in Staten Island, and somebody brought up Fresh Mutts, and one of your people just dropped out of it completely because they love cheese on pizza, but not cheese by itself. I don't know if you remember that episode.
Next time, he hates cheese and he hates butter.
But he loves it on other things, correct? Did I get that right?
Only pizza.
Only pizza. Gotcha.
Yes. He hates cheese, only pizza.
He's basically a child. He basically eats like a child.
Mas, you're muted. Are you trying to talk to us?
Hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Hold on. I'm sorry.
That is a surprise. So it wouldn't be a normal show if Mas didn't take call as he curses me out. I think he's off. So yeah.
No
so
worries.
He only likes cheese on pizza. He hates cheese. Well, Massimo hates pickles. If you bring up pickles, he flips out.
I don't hate pickles. I don't like pickles, but I'm not gonna out.
I think it was at the midday show. He flipped out. I think it was a midday show last week. He started flipping out because Dave told him he was going to bring him pickles, and he started screaming. Dave, go drop off a jar of pickles to him.
It sounds like he would love them. Well, that was quite the introduction, Mike. You know, a good dear friend, but I might be crazy.
You're out of your mind. After yesterday's conversation, it's clear you are clearly out of your mind. You're also the same friend of mine. The same friend that I'm outside my house and with my family, and all of a sudden this crazy looking guy is biking up to me up my sidewalk, and we're like, who is this guy? And Jim's like gets off his bike. He's all sweaty. I think he was bleeding out of his face. You couldn't even recognize him. He's like, I just biked here from Brooklyn and I got hit with a car. And I'm like,
I got hit by a car. I got hit by a car on Victory Boulevard, right by the entrance to where you would make the left on the Richmond Avenue, and like maybe like a quarter of a mile before that left, a guy hit me with his mirror, and he didn't stop. So I did the only rational thing you can do at that point. He did not knock me off my bike. I went into the curb, but I didn't fall off my bike. So I just tried to chase him. And luckily for me, he only lived around the corner from there. So I was able to let him know that he hit me. And the conversation was definitely entertaining and interesting, but I can't say that it accomplished anything. So really all I did was just pedal my ass off to go catch a guy to tell him that he hit me, which he obviously knew.
Now, the story of yours that I love, which I don't know if you want to tell on the air, but there's like, wasn't it a famous football player who you were next to in the car?
Okay. Wow.
That's
all
a
right,
good story.
So Candace and I, my wife, we were only engaged at the time, and at the time I had this the Ram 1500 Laramie Longhorn, big Ram pickup truck. It's nice. And so we were sitting in traffic, as I'm sure all of you have if you live anywhere near Staten Island or on Staten Island. It was a holiday, maybe 4th of July, Memorial Day, something like that. We were coming back from the Jersey Shore from her family's house. And we were sitting in that traffic before you get on the outer bridge. And if you know where that Shell gas station is, right there on the other side of the outer bridge on the Jersey side, we were coming up to that, but we were probably like maybe a quarter of a mile or half a mile before the gas station. And my wife had to pee. So it was about like dusk. It was starting to get dark. And I was like, listen, it's not that far of a walk, call me right now, put your cell phone on, walk down the middle of the cars in the middle of the street, because nobody was moving. And I said, and just keep your phone on. And then, like if nothing was going to happen, but I just get very precautious in those situations. She goes to the gas station. She's walking back from the gas station. And as she's walking back again through the middle of the road, the 2-lane road, a guy in a blacked out Range Rover smoking a cigar said something to her, and I could see him and her, and I knew that there was some type of interaction, but I couldn't obviously see what he said or what she said, but it wasn't a long interaction. And she got back into my truck, and I said, what was that? And she's like, oh, he asked me if I wanted a ride. Wow. I mean, I'm like, yeah, okay, this girl, all right, in cutoff jean shorts and a tank top, all right, is we're going to be walking down the middle of the road, right, with nowhere to go. Like, she needs your ride. You know what I mean? Like, that's your pickup. So it did infuriate me a little bit, because if you're going to hit on my fiance or my wife, at least be creative. You know what I mean? Like, at least address the situation correctly. Exactly. You know what I mean? I thought it was a little boyish, to be honest. But anyway, so now what he doesn't understand is now I am on a Mario Kart mission, right, to inch my way to get to this Range Rover, which was only like 6 or 7 cars in front of me. I finally get next to this guy. He's still smoking his cigar. Now it is dark. It is dark outside. So he happens to be a black guy, a very dark black guy. And so I roll down my window on the passenger side. So now I'm speaking across my wife. And I basically said, like, hey, man, like, didn't your mother ever tell you not to talk to strangers? And he's like, I'm from the South, and we say hello to everybody. And I was like, well, that's great. Well, you shouldn't speak to a woman walking down the middle of the street with a ring on her finger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, common courtesy, you shouldn't speak. So anyway, so we went back and forth. And he said, you look like you played football. I said, I didn't play football. I played basketball. He goes, well, I played football. And I'm like, well, congratulations. So now I'm in a screaming match. I'm editing this to like calm it down for this purpose. But so we're screaming at each other. He's telling me he played football. I say congratulations. Who gives a shit, right? He turns around and says, "Well, I played in the NFL." I said, so now I'm in the middle of a screaming match, and I go, "Well, that's very impressive, and it's very difficult to do, and you should be very proud of yourself." But again, I still don't give a fuck. So there's cursing allowed, right, Mike?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, thank God. So I don't think I can tell this story without it. Anyway, so it turns out he goes, I won a Super Bowl. Now the guy is slowly, I swear to God, I'll bring Candace in. He's slowly giving me his NFL resume in drips and drabs. Okay, and each time he gives me another point, it's more impressive. So now I'll just go right to the punchline. He thinks he's pulling away from me. Meanwhile, you're stuck in traffic. I'm going to see you in about a minute and a half, right? He pulls away from me and he goes, "My name's Plexico, by the way."
No.
What happened there?
So I pull up next to Plexico, Burris, and I go, "Plexico." I said, "You remember me?" Which freaked him out. I said, "You have a Porsche, don't you?" "Yeah." I said, "You got that Porsche because Big Ben got a Porsche, didn't you?" He goes, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" I said, "You and I bowled together at a charity event a couple years ago." I said, "You're hitting on people's wives in the middle of a street?"
Oh my God.
I was like, "Aren't you an NFL wide receiver? Like, aren't you supposed to be too big for that?" So anyway, so after I just harassed this guy and basically shamed him, 15 minutes, like not even 15 minutes, 15 seconds later, Candace opens up my glove box, grabs a business card, gets out of my truck, walks down to his Range Rover and hands him my business card. Which made me look like a complete ass. You know what I mean? Like my pride and everything I had just fought for completely shot when she said, "Maybe you guys can be friends."
Did he ever call you?
No, he never called me, that jerk. I waited for 3 days and everything.
That's pretty
But yeah,
good.
no, it's so Candace goes, "Well, how did you not know that it was Plexico Burris?" I said, he is dark, and it was dark, and he has tinted windows, and the window wasn't all the way up. I couldn't tell it was him. I said, "But let me tell you something. I would have shit my pants if I would have gotten a fight with this guy, got out of my truck, he would have got out of his car. I would have been like, really? Could you get any bigger?"
Yeah, you're pretty tall. Aren't you like 6'4"?
Yeah, but still, I mean, Plexico Burris, I don't know how tall he is. You can Google it, but I'm sure he's got to be like at least 6'6", 6'7".
All right. So
probably
we got
a lot wider.
All right, so we got your story out, but why do you want to come on? Why do you want to come on the show? I know you wanted to debate me, but it's my birthday. I can't be debating people, but I give you open forum. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, first of all, I think you almost want to be entertained by my antics, but in seriousness, Mike and I were having a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about the quarantine issues and obviously where we are right now. And Mike knows that I am a Republican, and he does like to jab. No, not Mike. Right? Look at him shaking his head already. So anyway, so we were talking about it, and I was just basically saying to him that, in my opinion, that the role of government is to serve the masses. And that is how a democracy works. That is why when you hear minorities complaining or sharing their grievances, it's normally they are right. They are correct. They have a reason to be complaining, and that is because the democracy, the way government is set up, the majority is the one who sets the power. So why I bring that up is because I'm only saying that with the 330 million people that live in the United States, and I'm not saying that lives don't matter and that we should, but the thing is for me, and this is the only thing I was explaining to Mike was, unfortunately, we have only looked at one side of this thing. We have not really looked at the economic side. And the thing that I always go back to is you can't replace earned income, which is what business owners do, right? Mike, don't you provide a service, and when your client pays you that fee for whatever that service is, there's nothing attached to that fee, meaning you have to pay taxes on it, obviously, but you don't have to pay some of it back later, right? Or all of it back later. And I think that is one of the things that I don't really think as a society, even as a society of business owners and entrepreneurs, I don't really believe that people really fully understand the economic impact of the decisions that we're making right now. These business owners are going to have to pay a lot of these loans back. I know that a lot of them are being forgiven if you do certain things with your employees, but a lot of these will not. And a lot of employers will not qualify because they would have ran out. A lot of employers still have not gotten their capital yet.
Right.
And these employers could run out of money if they were not well capitalized going into this whole thing. So the government is essentially, and this is my complaint, is the government is turning around and telling the American people, which I'm going to say a majority by a small margin, but a majority of them are employees. Okay. So the employees of the world and the country are basically looking at the news and saying, well, my boss should be continuing to pay me because that's what the American government is telling them to do. They're telling them to continue paying me, and they're going to give them money that they don't have to pay back. The problem is because they're relying on the financial institutions to be the lending agents or the processors of these loans. And because there's so many of them that still have to end at the same endpoint, which is the government, the federal government, to distribute these loans, distribute this money, you're still seeing a lot of business owners who have not gotten their money and who are still being asked to pay their employees. Or they're not being asked to pay their employees. They can put them on, they can put them on unemployment until they receive their money. But my whole point is you still had all these business owners that had continued to pay their employees this whole time, thinking that they were going to get the money that was going to reimburse them for what they were paying them, so that they wouldn't be putting more people on the unemployment line. Which is what I didn't even see the numbers yesterday. To be honest, I had a really crazy day yesterday. But what were the unemployment numbers yesterday? Does anybody know? It was 22 million before yesterday. In the last
I know
month.
it went up a couple of million. I'll get you right now.
Okay.
Tweet. Let's see.
So my only point to Mike is, and it's not a
4.4 additional million.
How many?
4.4 additional million.
So you're at somewhere around 26 million people in the last month and a half, somewhere in that neighborhood, have gone to file for the unemployment line. So that is telling us that the PPP program is actually not working.
So Jim, what is your
or it's either not working, or it's not enough, or it's not getting to enough of the business owners fast enough to prevent this large increase. I mean, when you're talking about millions and millions and millions of people that are going on unemployment, your past numbers your past ridiculously high record-breaking numbers used to be in the hundreds of thousands, Mike. Now we're talking about millions each week. That is telling us that they are not getting the money out to the business owners fast enough. And that means that you're continually asking these business owners to front the money. So now here's my thing, right? On one hand, I look at this and I say, well, it's not really fair to the business owner, because the business owner is the guy or the girl who has to turn around and be well capitalized and be prepared for this moment. They may not have been prepared for this moment. I hear a lot of business owners saying, hey, going into this, I thought I was well capitalized. I thought I was well capitalized for a 6-month period, a 3-month period. But in all reality, no business owner ever thought that they would go to not receiving any money. And some industries are receiving no money. They're non-essential. They have been forced to shut down, and that they have absolutely no need. Their customers, if you own a tire and rim shop right now, you're probably slow on the rim sales.
Right. Massimo,
if you're even open.
Massimo does DJ his in corporate events.
I don't know if you heard my question. What does Jim do for a living?
Exactly. His business is completely shut down. Nobody is paying him. He has employees.
Mike,
he must continue to pay. The federal government is going on the news and saying, good employers will do that.
Moss wants to know what you do.
I am a serial entrepreneur. My background is in the financial markets, life insurance, estate planning, wealth transfer. More recently, over the last 2.5, 3 years, I've been involved with a few really, really good people, and we have created AutoCheetah.com. And AutoCheetah.com is a transparent, clean way of shopping for a vehicle, whether you want to lease or finance it. And essentially what it allows you to do is it allows you to go through a completely automated process where you don't have to speak to any salesperson at all. Okay. Every car is on there. You can request any vehicle in any color with any special equipment you want, with any terms, any lease, any month, any miles, any down payment. It doesn't matter. And it does a soft pull on your credit score. It's really a phenomenal program that allows anybody who's in that tweener phase, meaning like I'm going to be in the car market in the next couple months. I should really start getting an idea of what's in my budget and what's not in my budget. And for a transparent, clean way, what we do is we allow dealers to provide pricing to you without knowing your name or your information. They can't call you, email you, text you. They can't bother you. They have no idea who you are. They're basically just getting a screenshot of a profile of who you are and what you look like, and then we provide you the best pricing we can. So that is essentially what I do now. But my interest really has been, I have a small consulting arm of the financial business that I have. And Massimo, I mean, the thing with that, it's just really interesting right now is just seeing how different businesses are coping with this, how different businesses are interpreting what they can do, what they can't do, how different businesses are messaging their employees and how they're keeping them engaged. Mike, I'll rattle off a list here for you if you want to go through any of them in particular. But I have like these, opportunities of quarantines for business owners, during this quarantine. I've been telling a lot of people, hey, listen, focus on human resources. It's not something that we can spend a lot of time on while we're in the thick of it and we're spending money on getting people. I'm sorry, I'm reading these comments. That was the first comment I saw, and I wasn't prepared, Mike.
Apparently Moss loves helping people to buy cars. I'm the same way. I love helping people get a great deal on their car.
I don't want to battle. I know he's your friend. I enjoy.
Okay, so anyway, business owners spending time on human resources, creating an org chart, having your employees create their job descriptions. I think the job description thing is a really cool one because if you ask your employees to do their job descriptions and they write out their job descriptions, it'll be interesting to see whether or not that's how you would have written out their job description and how they prioritize different tasks within their job description. Can employers purchase online courses right now, get their employees key certifications that the employee may not have had time to do before? The business owner themselves taking continuing education. There's a website called GetSmarter.com. It's a website that I found during this quarantine. I'll be honest, it's very new to me. But it allows you to take classes from really, really cool places like Harvard, MIT, Yale. And so there's different things that based off of what you do for a living and what your course of action is. There's probably some really cool courses on there that can help you. But
can you hear Moss? Because I know he was trying to ask you a question, and I
cannot hear Moss. He is muted. It looks like
Moss. Moss, can he hear you?
I don't know. Every time I try to ask him a question, he just kind of rolled over it. So I figured.
Can you hear him?
I cannot hear him.
Ah, there we go. We're back to the Be Live issues. That's weird. What, you on a cell phone? Jimmy, you're on a cell phone?
Yeah, I'm on my cell.
So you only hear me?
I only hear you.
Hey, Jim, you hear Todd?
No, I hear Todd, yeah.
How are you, man?
Moss, try again.
Yeah.
Moss?
Yes. Guys, I gotta jump. I have an 11 o'clock. I'm sorry.
He can't hear you.
All right.
Bye, Moss.
Question.
He dropped. I remember. That would have been a good prank though if I brought you on and told you just ignore Moss for an hour.
Oh my god, he would have been fuming. He was fuming just now from him ignoring him. Are you kidding me?
I think he thought you were ignoring him, and you could tell he was getting.
I watched his mouth say, "I'm fucking done."
Because you didn't hear him. Like he asked the question, you just went. And I was like, no, I don't think Jimmy could hear him.
Yeah, it was like a rude, like he was mid asking you something and you just started talking and he was like, oh, I'm fucking done. Like,
oh yeah, no, I can't hear anything he's saying, so you'll have to apologize for him. He's all pissed off.
Can you try and tilt your screen this way, the other way? I want to see if it'll move.
Mm-hmm. Does.
It does. So, yeah, Moss don't like you. We just figured that out.
That was funny though.
Yeah, because
I was glad I could amuse everybody else in the process.
Well, because me and Todd, I was like, I don't think Jimmy hears Moss.
Yeah.
And Todd's like, either that or your friend's really rude. One of the two. That is great, though. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring people along and tell them, listen to everyone else, but totally ignore Moss.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the technology thing, we've been still trying to figure this out. They had the NFL draft last night. They have it on again tonight. And you saw from their side the same issues we're having, they're having. And that's a multi-million-dollar, 3 networks, 5 states are involved. It's a massive undertaking. And the delays that we have on here, where the lips don't match the words, where there's the delay in responding, it happens across the board. So, I think, Jim, things you've been saying is just, adjusting, being patient with, what's going on.
But see, that's Jim's
another example.
He doesn't think being patient. Jimmy is for open back up and just let those who die. Correct, Jimmy?
Jeez almighty, Mike. I mean that is a chilling way to describe what I've been saying. But in some ways, I can't say that it's completely false either.
Oh wow.
Here's it's not. I'm not saying that we should let
your dad. I'm gonna interrupt you. That's my show. Didn't you say to your dad he had a good life, and if it's time to go, he has to go?
No, Mike. I told you that I told my father that he had a good life, and if it's his time, it's his time.
Okay, sound like my mom says all the time.
What, your mom to you?
My mom always says, "Yeah, you had a good life. It's your time. See ya." What?
Go ahead, Jimmy. I want to give you your time because otherwise you'll be mad at me like Moss, and then no one will talk to me again.
Go ahead, Mike.
Go, Jimmy.
Here's my thing. The question I had posed to Mike, and I don't want to really go through his response because it is personal, but I said to Mike, you're a guy, you're a business owner, you're out there. I mean, Mike is I'm a good friend of Mike's and I see him everywhere. Okay. He's on every committee. He's donated time, everything to every single organization that I've ever heard of on Staten Island. Right. So he's a guy that knows a lot of people. And I said, Mike, how many people do you know that have been affected by this? And his answer is really irrelevant, to be honest with you. It's not whether it's 0 or 5,000. It's the point that I'm saying is I also believe that I know my fair share of people, as we all do. We all have a network of people that we're connected to in some way, shape, or form. And there's people that you may not speak to on a regular basis, but if something happened to them, you would hear about it pretty quickly. And I'm just saying that I live in New York. Okay, I live in the epicenter. My wife is a registered nurse. Okay, works at Seaview Hospital on Seaview North. Okay, and all I'm saying is, yes, I know a couple people that have corona. Yes, I know of a few people that have actually passed away from this, and those things are tragic. But those things them passing away would have been tragic no matter how they passed away. And that is my only argument, is that I think that this thing has become slightly politicized. And when I say slightly, that is sarcasm I'm using right there. Because, people are dying from a lot of different things. Are we getting upset about every single one of them? Or is that life? If my father didn't die of corona, but died of pneumonia, just regular pneumonia, am I not allowed to talk about it? Am I not allowed to complain about it? Am I not allowed to be sad about it because it's not a corona case? Because it doesn't add to the political number? What, so nobody would care? Mike, if I called you up and said my dad died, you're going to say, was it from corona? And I'm going to say, no. You're just going to say, oh, that's unfortunate. I wish it was from corona, right? No, you would never say that.
Right. I
would never say that. Every life matters to us. That's just ridiculous. But all my only argument is I do not expect my government at the state or federal level to know my mother or father, to care about their life. My mother and father's life does not impact the total economics. So we're not talking about whether or not we believe that every life matters. We're not talking about that. We're talking about whether every life that we would have lost is worth shutting down the economy and losing countless other lives. And I don't even want to get into the BS of like suicide, increased domestic abuse, which those things will increase. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about just the overall 330 some odd million people that live in the United States. And if you would have let this thing run rampant, okay, now they're saying that, and the numbers keep on going down. That's what I basically said to Mike yesterday was I said, hey, you know, we were talking about the R naught number, which I missaid, and Mike quickly corrected me. But we were talking about the R naught number, and I was saying, yes, the R naught number, everybody's focusing on that, but we don't know what the mortality rate is. And if the mortality rate ends up being somewhere like where the flu, what does that say then? Was this all for nothing? And I'm just asking questions here. I'm not saying I know the answers. I'm just basically basing my opinion off the data that I see now. I watch the news every day. I try to keep myself educated as much as I can. I talk to a lot of people, and I get their opinions. And that's the only way I really think that, because nobody really has the answers to this, and we will only know once we get there. But if the mortality rate, just for argument's sake, becomes the same as the flu, was this a huge waste of money? Would we have not, did all this social distancing really not save that many lives? That's my only question. Is you know, the flu attacks people whether they have a respiratory issue or not. The coronavirus attacks people whether they have a respiratory issue or not. If you have the flu and you have a respiratory issue, you have a problem. If you have a respiratory issue and a coronavirus, you have a problem. I don't know how those two things compare, but I think what's interesting is moving forward, it will allow all of us. And here's the other thing I said to Mike. I think as citizens of this country, we should start not holding everybody responsible for what they said 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mean, Jesus Christ, every day the statistics change. We learn more about the virus. We learn more about the data. We learn more about what this is doing. We get closer to hopefully getting to the other side of this thing, right? So obviously people's opinions are going to change as we learn more information about this, as reality actually comes to fruition.
And I agree with you that the data is going to keep changing. It's new, right? It's novel. That means it's never been seen before. You know, it's a new virus. We don't know a lot about it. We learn more every day. They're even saying, there was just a report yesterday that with the antibody testing they're doing, we might see that already 50% of New York had this. We don't know. But you know, and you're right. If that goes up and the mortality rate decreases, a percentage-wise, I get it. But at the same time, if by doing this is saving lives and we don't know, it's the unknown, I would never fault anyone for doing this to help save lives.
And Mike, I can't agree with you more. I'm not faulting anybody because everybody is essentially just, here's what I'm faulting. I'm not faulting anybody who has made decisions in the best interest of saving lives. Okay? Mm-hmm. But here's my thing. Why am I crazy? Why am I the ridiculously oddball? Why am I the one that everybody points to when I just say simply that this all could have been for nothing? This all, and you're talking about trillions of dollars, and that's what I'm saying, Mike, is you're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars. And people like, you know, and I don't want to get on my soapbox here, all right? And I apologize, but I'm just going to gently just do like a quick step up, and then I'm going to get the hell off of it. But you take a guy like me who it took 2.5 years, really, Mike. You know this. You're a good friend of mine. You watched this whole process. It took 2.5 years for me really to get the processes up and running in order to roll out my company. So you take a guy like me that invests a lot of time, a lot of money into a thing, and then all of a sudden, bam, my whole supply chain is dried up. You know, and I'm not saying that woe was me. Everybody should. I'm not complaining. But what I'm saying is I'm going to be very, very upset, Mike, if it ends up being that we did all of this out of fear and not out of science.
Right. And I don't know if we did it out of fear. I think it's been a mix of fear and science. And I can tell you right now, we're going to get a real life check-in because Georgia opens today, right? And we're going to see the social distance work. You're going to be able to see, right, looking at the president's own guidelines, Georgia should not be opening the June 1st. And they've made the decision. They're opening today with, I think, Monday, bowling alleys, gyms, right? All these. So
tattoo parlors, I think,
right,
you said,
like
which is crazy to me.
Right, and we're going to be able to see where do they sit. Are they going to? They've been averaging 500 cases right a day. Are they all of a sudden in the next week going to start jumping up? Well, the next 14 days, right? It's anywhere from 2 to 14-day incubation. Now, even the mayor in Vegas is talking about opening up casinos. Now, the scary thing with that is when she was confronted by a news anchor and they say, well, okay, you're opening the casinos. Will you go to a casino? I don't gamble. That was her word. That's what she said. I don't gamble. I wouldn't go to a casino. So, well, you do gamble. You're taking the gamble of people's lives. So,
right.
You know, and you're not even willing to say, right? If you were so confident, you say, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be shaking people's hands in those casinos and walking around, right? If you were so confident, she's opening it for the economy. And I get it. Vegas, right, is only as good as the tourism that comes in there. Without that, that whole city could be bankrupt. Right? I've been to Vegas. You know, you've been to Vegas. There's nothing else there.
Vegas isn't right. And Mike, not to cut you off, but you know, because I've already have a reputation of being rude on this show. But you know, so Vegas is an interesting. We did a case study for Auto Cheeto when we first started creating the business model. And back then we looked at Vegas because, like, obviously, why wouldn't you want to set up shop in Vegas, right? That's a great place to go visit to check on things, right? So we wanted to look into Vegas, but Vegas doesn't work. And the reason Vegas doesn't work is exactly what you're talking about. Is competition in Vegas is very different than competition everywhere else in the country because there's so much around it that's nothing. You know what I mean? So like when we went in there to compete with a Honda dealership, well, where's your supply chain? How are you going to make those two Honda dealerships compete against you? You can't, because there's not enough population to warrant having two Honda dealerships in Vegas. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That it is different.
And Jennifer Finch agrees with you 100%.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate the I really do. And thank you, because you know, it's interesting, Mike, because I'm sorry, but even through your introduction, you know, it is set up against people of conservative mindset. And that's a shame, because you know what? I'm going to change this back because I can see the comments better. Okay. But you know, it's a shame because, you know, I don't necessarily know if that's fair. You know what I mean? Why is one side's opinion so radical and so cold and so awful to everyone else?
Why are you gonna make me feel bad? Don't make me feel bad.
No, it's not. It's
my birthday.
God, roll the fuck up.
Yeah, it really is, Mike. I mean,
where'd she go? She's gone. We're losing.
She's gone. It's me and you, Mike.
It's just me and you. It's like a normal day.
Yeah. Listen, the auto industry, I think, is going to be really, really, really interesting. I mean, if I can talk about that for just a couple seconds here. Go ahead. Just listen, I read an article a couple days ago, and they were talking about the supply chain. I mean, Mike, here's a fun fact for you and your viewers. I Googled how many parts are there in a modern automobile, if you had to guess, including the screws, like down to the screw.
Down to the screws, parts?
Yeah.
Oof. I'm gonna pull a crazy number out. I'm probably way off, but I'd say probably 10 to 15,000.
You're way closer than I was, but you got to double it. It's close to 30,000 parts when you include each individual screw.
Nuts, washers, bolts. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So when you think about that, but those 30,000 parts, and we're just going to use that a rough number. I don't know if that's real. I Googled it, to be honest with you, Mike. I'm not saying that's an industry knowledge. You know, I Googled it. But now you take those 30,000 parts roughly, right? And they have different raw materials. They come from different parts of the country. Some of those things have to be manufactured, obviously, before they get to the auto manufacturer, okay? So what I mean by that, when you talk about screws and nuts, auto manufacturers do not manufacture their own screws and nuts, right?
Right. They all probably use the same manufacturer for the screws, nuts, bolts.
So now a perfect example is a company called Dana, right? Dana's a large corporation. They make axles. They make axles for, large John Deere, Caterpillar, but they also make axles for vehicles. And so if they cannot get the raw materials to create their axles, or if paint companies can't get the chemicals they need in order to create their paints, right? What is that going to do to manufacturing even in the United States, but in the globe on the auto side. I mean, how are these automakers going to manufacture these vehicles without the raw materials that are required in order to create the vehicle itself? And then, so if you now, what's interesting to me is if that inventory issue and supply chain issue continues down the trickling path, you could have issues getting body work done to your car, repairing your car mechanically, getting your car serviced. You could have a hard time. I mean, you probably won't have a hard time getting an oil change because obviously oil
is free.
And
do you have a spot where we could put get some couple of the barrels?
I'm renting out space right next to my house here.
Just
for all those
barrels.
Negative, yeah, I'm willing to take that feed.
Well, just look at supply chain. Look at this. You can't get this.
I know.
Right? And to think of who would ever think that you wouldn't be able to find disinfectant spray and Clorox wipes and all that. And it's like a mad tear. And part of it is probably because fear, and people fear shop. And, when it comes to certain things, I might do that as well. With others, I might not, but it's what happens and destroys the supply chain.
And now take that supply chain issue that I just talked about very briefly, right? And now add on top of that we have an interest rate environment going on that's very interesting, right? So now you have an interest rate that should be really, really low. So now I have people calling and emailing me saying, hey, what are interest rates going to look, or what are car prices going to look like? And I think it's a really interesting thing, Mike. You're a car guy, and I think you really like getting into the weeds a little bit of the car business. You enjoy the conversation. So it'll be really interesting because when you look at leasing, what is that manufacturer's bank? Meaning, if you lease an Audi, right? You're normally going to lease that Audi from Audi Financial or whatever their manufacturer's bank is, right?
Yep.
So now when you go to lease that vehicle, that bank is saying, okay, Mike, what do you want to do? And you say, I want a 3-year, 36,000-mile lease, okay? And what that bank is going to do is they're going to say what, Mike? They are going to figure out what the residual value of that vehicle is going to be worth after you had it for 3 years and you drove it for 36,000 miles, right? That's an interesting thing because how are these inventory issues those supply chain issues and inventory issues going to affect how dealers utilize and distribute their inventory? Are dealers going to hold gross because they can't get the cars? Are trade-in values going to go up or down based off of inventory issues? What's going to happen at the auction? If dealers can't sell their new cars and earn money, because here's the thing you got to remember. If I have 100 or 200 cars on my lot, I give one of them away for nothing, or I only make $500 on it, right? The issue I have there is I still have all the expenses that I have, and I just lost a unit. I just lost a piece of inventory that I could have made money on somebody else with that piece. So to give away a car would never make any sense. Because now all I'm doing is reducing my inventory, which is reducing my variety, which is reducing my selection, which is reducing the number of people that may be interested in my lot, and I'm not making money on it. So what is that going to do to trade-in values, residual values? I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how interest rates.
Just us.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how interest rates and the supply chain issues converge and to see which one, because I don't know if banks are going to necessarily supply the end buyer, like the customer like us, right, with these fantastic interest rates, because do they really want to increase demand when supply is such a big issue?
Right.
Mike?
If there's no supply, you don't want to create the demand. Did you see a couple of months ago, there was a Danish bank that was doing negative mortgage rates?
Yes.
When are we going to get that? I want to get paid to own a house.
I mean, yeah, but there's a lot that comes with that too, Mike. You know what I mean? I think, and the other thing is I don't necessarily believe that, I don't necessarily believe it'll ever happen here.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it would ever happen here.
I don't think that, but at the end of the day, I've been talking to a lot of people. I think from a real estate perspective, it's not my strong suit by any way, shape, or form. But I think it really is interesting when you get interest rates that are as low as they are right now, and you have inventory that is at an all-time low in Staten Island and in New York in general right now because of what's going on in the fear and the kind of the hold on, let me just see what the hell happens before I make my next move kind of mindset. Which is, I mean, Mike, how can you think any other way right now? You know what I mean?
Right, because it's all unknown. We have no idea what's going to happen.
Right. And I think with interest rates being so low, you're locking, I mean, people are going to be buying up pieces of property because you're locking yourself into a really low payment in a market that traditionally should go up over time.
Right.
It's a great buy and hold time. Great buy and hold.
A very good financial guy that I know we were in a meeting yesterday, and he was saying though that the thing he doesn't agree with the bailouts and the PPP and everything is because in a true capitalist, country, you should allow people to basically businesses to fold, and then the people with wealth should be able to go and buy that up for pennies. And that's a true.
But I'll take it a step further, Mike. I'll take it a step further because whoever you were talking with, I agree with 100%. Okay, and it is one of my soapboxes that I've been jumping on lately because here's the thing. Not only is it not giving the opportunity to the people that have been saving money and putting money to the side for a rainy day, which Americans don't like doing anymore, but you're going to start seeing people start doing that again.
I think they said like 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, which is
exactly no matter what your income is, because everybody just lives up to your income. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what's happening right now. And that's what I was getting into earlier with the business owners saying, hey, Jim, I thought I had 3 months of reserves, but I never thought I would have no money coming in whatsoever. Right. I thought if business went down 50%, if it tanked, but I didn't think nobody.
You're right. No one thought like Massimo, done. The switch got shut off and nothing comes in.
And it's unfair. It really is unfair. But all right. So we got off onto a little bit of a tangent there, but.
And we got like 2 minutes and we got into. We're already 20 minutes past our 1 hour mark. We're losing people.
Oh, you have a one. Oh, yeah. You brought me way too late for an hour. I talk way too much for that.
We gave you a half an hour. Now you got 50 minutes already.
I definitely appreciate it, Mike. But anyway, so I think going back to what re-topic.
The capitalist, letting people die, businesses die. So the wealth.
Yeah, letting businesses die. Because not only that, but it also allows younger people like us, right? Not necessarily us, but younger people like us who would now figure out a way to do it better, to be more innovative. And it would also teach these companies to start putting money away to the side. You can't over leverage yourself. What we're basically doing is we're allowing the largest corporations in this country to use leverage, knowing that they don't have to have anything in reserves because the American people will say they are too important because they employ too many people and we will not let them fail. And it's really a shame because whoever you were talking about, it's not allowing the economy to grow. And the way I would explain this with my last 30 seconds is a rainforest. I'm not a rainforest. If a forest burns to the ground, we have a forest fire, right? That is part of the natural evolution of that forest, okay? Because what will grow back from the richness of all those compounds burning and that organic matter going back into the soil, it is a part of a process. And essentially, we are just not allowing that burning process to exist anymore. We are going into a debt process, and that's the only thing that we did in the previous crisis. And if you are in the stock market, I would strongly consider believing that you are going to have the same outcome as we did last year because we're using the same tactics with the Fed.
Okay. Yeah, and
Mike, thank you so much for having me. I'm a huge fan of your show. Greatly appreciate you allowing me to rant a little bit.
I love you. I'm crazy too, so don't take offense. I'm always willing to hear everyone's opinion. I never said my opinion was right.
You're so wise in your old age and on your birthday yet.
On my birthday. So stay on. Don't drop off yet. I'm going to say goodbye. All right. So thank you for joining us midday with Moss. Moss has a special guest, Dominic Ciccarello, from Think Design Architecture. So we'll see you at 3 p.m.